Welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Pannon.
I'm V-Fire.
And I'm David.
David!
Always making us wait, David.
I gotta have the dramatic pause. Like, it's exciting.
You have the best entrance. I'm so jealous.
Yes, no. What can I say?
So how you guys been?
It's been a long time since I last spoke to you.
Such a long time.
Such a long time. And, lots of things have changed, and my leg is now folded under myself instead of crossed. So.
Very good. Definitely didn't record these episodes back to back.
No.
No.
1 minute in between.
My life has changed. I don't know about you guys.
No.
Completely different. Anyway, for our listeners at home who have been experiencing the flow of time, if you guys would like to email us, you can do that at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
fill out the googly Google form at cosplaystitchandseam.com or
send us your message on our Facebook page. And while you're there, join our fantastic group for our Work in Progress Wednesdays. Just join our fantastic community in general. Or if you're not a big fan of Facebook, go to our Discord, which you can find a link either on our Facebook or on our Twitter every now and again. And while you're on the internet, and if you want to support the show, share the podcast with a friend. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Audible, wherever they let you. That helps the algorithm gods. And of course, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. For $3 a month, we give you a shout out every single episode. And for $5 a month, we invite you to join the Cosplay Chronicles!
Wow.
Our next game will be December 5th, assuming, again, we don't have any holiday shenanigans we need to move around. I plan on something like that happening because we are adults. Life happens. Mm-hmm. But if you happen to join our game, remember, sometimes you can even impact the game. Remember that great pike joke that I made? It was so great. It was because of one of our chat people suggested the weapon of choice. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, wait, okay, yeah, 5th is fine. I was just really double checking.
Scheduling in real time.
St. Nicholas Tog. I celebrate that, so yeah. It's in the evening, so I'll be okay.
Yeah. So upcoming conventions, I know I'll be at Anime Los Angeles, hosting the Masquerade, so I'm super excited to see everybody's costumes, and we brought you some amazing judges this year. Very excited about that. Mercedes, tell me about, you'll be going to Level Up the next month in February, right?
Yes, hopefully dragging you guys along.
Hey.
It's Vegas, it's cheap. We just don't gamble and it's cheap anyways. Brain work. Yes, going to Level Up Expo. It's gonna be super fun. I'm really excited for it. Everyone knows I'm a video game nerd, so it'll be really fun to go to a video game themed convention. I've been to one before, but it was Utah based and it no longer exists. Sad.
I remember that. Yeah. Aww.
But I'm excited to go to one where it has that, and I'm excited to see what kind of panels they have to offer. As a game developer, I'm just like, this will be fun.
Well, speaking of cool new things to offer, foxbeautycosmetics.com,
yes!
which is foxbeautycosmetics.com, has a brand new line of lip glosses to check out. You can use our promo code Stitch and Seam, all one word, to get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Heck yeah!
Oh, yeah!
Great quality.
Yeah. We've got another episode for you today from Anime Banzai. This one was recorded on the last day, I believe. Which one was that, Mercedes?
Which?
The panel?
Oh, the panel. Sorry, I thought you were saying which day, and I'm like, don't have me pick the date.
No.
Remember that. I got it. Yes, the panel. The Cosplay Roundtable.
Yay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to have a panel like this.
Anime Los Angeles, actually. Last time I was at ALA, I was there guesting for the cosplay contest, being a judge, and I was approached by, what was her name? I don't remember any of his names. But anyways, they needed an extra person on their roundtable panel, and I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And participated in that, and it was really, really fun. It's just a bunch of different cosplayers from all walks of life being able to share their stories, and it was really fun. Super duper enjoyed it. And I was like, you know what, I want to try and do this at other conventions. It was kind of similar to like the cosplay Create the Impossible. There we go. Similar to Create the Impossible, but it was a little more casual and like more people. So I was like, I'm gonna do this at Banzai, and then I did. So yeah, so we had a number of guests for that one. We had Mr. Elena Cosplay, Winter Fox.
You and me.
Yes, you and me. Pannon and I. Winter Fox was also on this one. I couldn't like get him out of any panels. He's just amazing. No, I'm just
Midnight Persona, right?
Midnight Persona, yes, who was just fantabulous.
Yeah, Turtle Bunnies.
Turtle Bunnies joined us, which was really kind because we had a last second drop because of family emergencies, so that was really nice. And H. Batali, right?
Oh yes, Holly Batali.
Yes, Holly Batali.
She's so fun.
Yeah, it was a really good panel. Very sweet stories. Lots of sharing our sudden memories that were being dug up from the depths of our minds.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Well, we hope you guys enjoy it.
So yes, welcome to the Roundtable. This is a panel that I have seen at other conventions where they just get a lot of really amazing cosplayers, which everybody in here, in our audience as well, are amazing. And Mario hat over there is like, I don't know, your knitted hat is super freaking dope, so.
I just think I have style.
You definitely have style. All right. Sorry, I just drank most of my coffee. The rest is on the floor. I got this. Okay. So we ask questions and whatnot. I'm going to start with some pre-created questions, as well as some from the Cosplay Stitch and Seam Facebook group. Cosplay Stitch and Seam is a podcast. This panel is being recorded for an episode, so it is an episode. There we go. It was a kind of a last-second thrown-in thing. When we get to the part with audience questions, that'll be... And at any time you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. I'm not going to stop you if it's like in the middle of something. Like, I'm not going to be like, you can't ask questions. Go ahead and ask questions at any time to elaborate on anything. I'm A-okay with that. All right. Let's have our panelists introduce themselves. We'll start on the long end. Over here.
Oh. Hey. I was not prepared for that.
Sorry.
I'm Turtle Bunnies Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for a very long time, and I'm a last-minute addition to this panel, so hi. Mostly local stuff. I run the Utah Nihon Matsuri Cosplay Contest as well, if anybody has done that. And yeah, I'm feeling very humbled and honored to be at this table with so many awesome people. So.
I'm Winter Fox Cosplay. I've been cosplaying since about 2012, 2013. I actually don't remember what year it was. I just know it's that area. I specialize in makeup, so I play a lot with colors, different formulas. I started my own brand for cosplayers, and now I'm here.
Yay. I am Miss Elena Cosplay. I have been cosplaying a very long time. I was cosplaying when these things were held in gyms and there was lights on and lights off if you were lucky. And now we have like special effects and light cues and videos. It's crazy. I compete and have judged all over the country, and I've competed and won awards at AX here and all over Vegas and California, and I've judged on the East Coast and all over the place. And then I also run the cosplay contest here at Anime Banzai. Yay! And so I'm just really, really thrilled to be here with all of these amazing, wonderful people. So that's me.
Yay. Hello. I'm Midnight Persona. I didn't realize this was on. I'm Midnight Persona. I'm Vegas-based cosplayer. I've been cosplaying since 2009, 2010. I like to compete a lot, but when I compete, you'll know it's me because I do really dumb skits.
Please.
No, I mean, my goal is to make people fall out and like head bang or like, I just want to see the audience
You
lose it.
handing out those CDs, that was just, that was genius.
I'll talk about that later. So I love competing, and I stand for plus size diversity and POC cosplayers and try to spread awareness. And I am an avid TikToker, even though I love and hate that app so much. But yeah.
I'm V-Fire. I'm moderating the panel, but I am one of the co-hosts for the Cosplay Stitch and Seam with Pannon over here and David over there in the audience, who is absolutely wonderful. And I've been cosplaying for a while now, since 2008, and compete all over the western United States. One day I'll get to the east. It'll be really fun.
It's a totally different vibe. I'll tell you that right now.
Let's go.
No, it's not a bad. It's just different.
Let's go.
Yes, let's do it.
I recommend Animazement.
Oh, okay.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, I've both judged and competed and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I love our community, and that's why I put this panel together.
Hey, I'm Pannon. I've been cosplaying for I think 20 years this year. Yay! So since 2001, and gosh, I have probably made about 300 costumes. I think I've counted last. It was almost 60 awards nationwide. I've represented the U.S. twice abroad, once in Japan for World Cosplay Summit and once in the Netherlands as part of the C4 competition. So I've done a lot of judging, and and I run the masquerade at ALA.
Woo-hoo! Yeah, all right, so I'm going to start just a warm-up question. What was your first cosplay experience? So that first time that you were either introduced to it or the first time that you wore a cosplay, how was that for you? For me?
Does that count before we knew cosplay was a thing?
It could be even before you knew cosplay was a thing, Like, for me, it was, one of my friends dragging me to Video Games Live and being like, you have to wear a costume to it. And I'm like, okay. And then realizing that what I had been doing all my life when I went to movies in costume and all that stuff was cosplay. It was really cool. It was a really good experience. It got me addicted to it. So, I gotta love those, first-time drug uses. I mean... Anti-drug uses. Yes, I spend more money on cosplay.
It's just as expensive.
No. Look at my bag. Look at my bag. Anime. Drugs would be cheaper.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with Pannon.
So the question's, what was
your first cosplay experience?
Oh, geez. Cosplay experience. Well, I think I talked about my first cosplay experience a little bit in our last panel. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to talk about my first time I had made one myself.
Yes.
And that was, I was going to tell you how long ago it was. It was at the premiere of the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings first movie in the trilogy.
Ooh.
And I went as Legolas and, braided my own hair and got these, elf ears. I had to go all over the Salt Lake Valley looking for, do you guys have elf ears? And they're like, we have Spock ears. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Raided my mom's, fabric closet because she does a lot of quilting. And I found, a little bit of green suede and, some crazy scraps and things she wasn't using here and there. And I kind of just, put it together to the best of my abilities, use a t-shirt to trace the pattern for what the tunic should look like, and I don't know, it was really exciting. It was they did a tiny little mini costume contest because they did a midnight showing for the debut, and it was a very small group the first time the movie came out, so it was kind of a unique experience, but there were only probably 5 or 6 of us there in costume. And I actually got a couple copies of the novels for the costume contest. Oh, cool. So it was a lot of fun. It was a really good experience.
My very first time seeing cosplay is I went to Anime Vegas years ago, and
Anime Vegas.
Anime Vegas. I just walked in and was just like, there are people in costume, and like lost my mind because it was so exciting. Because I already knew how to sew a little bit, and then when people were like, oh yeah, you can just make costumes and go out there, and I'm like, this is a thing outside of Halloween. And got super excited. And my very first cosplay was Peninia from Fullmetal Alchemist, who's in like 2 episodes back then. And I was so excited, I grabbed a random glove and just painted it silver and was like, I'm gonna find every Edward Elric I can find, and got super excited. And like, it was such a blast because being able to use a skill set I already had and just be in costume was so much fun. So.
My first cosplay, it was before I knew what cosplay, was its thing. I was in junior high and I rode a brontosaurus to school. In my junior high, as long as you weren't wearing a mask, you could wear a costume on Halloween. I don't know if they still do that. Yeah, this is pre-Columbine, obviously, because I'm riding brontosauruses. And I was looking at the costumes available, and I hated them. I'm like, I'm not a Spider-Man fan. I'm not a Batwoman, Batgirl thing. It wasn't my thing. And my mom sewed, and I was trying really hard to learn how. Because, I liked the clothes, but I was an odd child and wanted something that they just didn't make. I'm like, no, that fabric's bleh. Why is it that color? Because, neon was a thing on our brontosauruses, and neon was not my thing. So I was learning how to sew because I wanted things that I liked to wear rather than what the stores said I should like. And so my thing that I was into in junior high was Elf Quest by Wendy and Richard Panay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good. There are Elf Quest fans here. And I have, and I as I've gotten older, it's kind of toned down, but I have a turned up nose like Cutter does. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do Cutter for my costume. My friends were all in on it. We had a Kavi and we had a Lita, and she was so excited to be represented. She was the only person of color in our junior high, because I'm from Idaho, which is, pasty as the snow that snows there. And she was so excited. She's like, look, there's this amazing, strong female character that is a person of color. So she was Lita, only we had to fill it in because our junior high wouldn't let the midriff being showed. Because, junior high. And we were this huge group, and of course no one outside of our group knew who we were. But I'm Cutter, and if you know anything about Cutter, he's always bare-chested. And so, and I didn't know what open binding was. I'm 13. So I found the one costume where he wears a shirt. And that is in the second book, when he's in the Sun Village, he wears this big, flowy poet shirt that kimono folds in the front. And it immediately gets ripped off by an attacking troll, six panels in, because
You can't cover up that.
you can't cover up them abs. I mean, come on, it's Cutter's abs. So, but I'm like, it's canon, it's there, he wears a shirt. So we worked so hard. It was my first experience with faux fur, faux leather, with linen. Oh man, and here I am, 13, going, why am I doing this to myself? Oh man, we're walking around and nobody knows who we are, but who cares? And then I found out that there were conventions where people do this on purpose. Oh, my mind was blown. I walked into my first con was at Anime Vegas. And it was actually the first year when it was free, and it was a one-day thing because they just wanted to make sure there were enough nerds to have a con. We walked in, and there were all these other people in costumes, and I was in Miss Kaoru from Rurouni Kenshin. I was in a kimono and everything. And I walked in, and I was like, my people are here! Oh my goodness! And I had been talked into going by a friend who'd gone to San Diego Comic-Con the year before, and she walked into there, and that's massive amounts of people, and she's like, I have returned to my tribe. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. She's like, no, you don't understand. So I walked in and I'm like, I know the feeling. I am here with other nerds who understand my pain. So that was my first cosplay. It was junior high, and then being just super overwhelmed by seeing other people doing the same thing and knowing it was an actual culture.
Mine's not as exciting. Mine honestly just starts with Kingdom Hearts 2. I was the first PlayStation game I ever played way back in 2006, 2007. And I just wanted to be Roxas so bad. And my mom knew that I wanted to be Roxas. She had no idea what it was, what Kingdom Hearts was, who this character was. And I just remember like just begging her every year for Halloween, like, I want to be Roxas, I want to be Roxas. And she's like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, well,
understand.
like, figure it out, because I want to be Roxas. So Salt Lake announced that they're going to have their first Comic-Con, and it's around Christmas time, and I was like, man, I would love to go to that. So sure enough, my mom had bought me a Roxas costume and a gold pass for FanX, or not FanX, it was Comic-Con at the time. Yeah, so it's super tender. She was actually here today just because she wanted to see the booth for a little bit. So I got some pictures with my mom.
Yay!
But we went over to Comic-Con. I had done like a closet Mad Hatter. I'd done Roxas, just some fun little stuff. And I remember when I was in Roxas, there was a Kyrie following around. And she was just, following around the whole convention. She was too afraid to come say hi. And I had this awful wig. My mom bought like a pre-styled wig from Amazon, and it is awful. I still have it. It's in the closet somewhere.
Example of what not to do.
Yeah, it was like pre-teased. I didn't know how to style wigs. I still struggle with wigs. I shake my head and, put hair into places, and I'm like, that's good enough, right? But I remember I saw the picture of us together too. She came up and I was wearing a Link hat with this wig because it wasn't styled, and she's like, can I please get a picture? And I was like, absolutely. And in my 16-year-old, 15-year-old brain, I was like, I'm famous now. So I just kept pushing forward and like got to experience a lot more of the cosplay world, and I'm very happy that I got to experience everything because I wouldn't have all these amazing friends.
So this question unlocked a chain of hidden memories.
I hope they were good.
I don't know. There were things I didn't realize I'd repressed until I was trying to think of an answer to this question as it went down the road. So I'm going to take you guys along the journey with me. So my first thought was the second ever Anime Banzai. Not the first ever Anime Banzai, but the second ever Anime Banzai. I wore this moose costume from Ranma 1/2. And it was not my best work, but I was very proud of it. I had just taken Elmer's glue, and glued the symbol on the chest. And I think that the black on the cuffs was made of carpet. I'm not exaggerating. And yeah, so it was, but I loved it. I had a great time. And the thing that I will always remember is I walked in to Anime Banzai and someone recognized me right away. And I, as the person who was at school, the only person who specifically liked Ranma 1/2 and Maison Ikoku and all of that stuff, Rumiko Takahashi, I was amazed that there were people who knew who I was and asked for my picture. So I was like, that's the first memory I remember, and then it unlocked one. Why did I have that moose costume? Well, I had made it a year before for Spirit Week at my high school, not for Halloween, for Spirit Week, because you were supposed to dress like a superhero.
There you go.
And so I made Moose from Ranma 1/2 and had to explain to everybody who I was. But as you could tell, I'm that person where you're like, oh crap, I asked her. And she's just shaking you. So I was like, let me tell you about what I'm dressed as. So I was like that, and I was like, why was I in the habit of wearing an anime character for Spirit Week? And then I remembered that in junior high, we had also had Spirit Week, and I had done Yamcha from Dragon Ball. And it was worse than Moose, because for his symbols, I just drew them on a paper plate and stapled them to myself.
You're bringing back memories for me too.
I literally was like, Mom, how do I get this on here? And she was like, I don't know. I made the pants for you. I made the shirt for you. And I was like, I just need to fuse two things together. And I shoved all of the needle and thread and glue off the table and grabbed the stapler. So that was in junior high. And then I was like, when did I start wearing really niche, way too much effort things to very small gatherings where no one was going to recognize me? And I remembered in 5th grade, there was a very small Halloween party that my friends threw. And my mom, who was such a trooper, I told her that for this party of 5 people, I absolutely had to be Xena Warrior Princess. And
That's a lot of effort.
And she did it. Wow. She made me an entire Xena costume. And so there was a whole 5 people, 7 if you count the parents of the people hosting the party. And I won the cosplay contest at this party with my Xena Warrior Princess costume. So that was my first experience with cosplay.
Wow. You remind me, you said superhero for Spirit Week and odd costumes. That same year that I was Cutter and no one knew who I was. They said superheroes, and again, I enjoy Marvel movies and things like that, but I'm not into spandex if I can get away from it. And so they were like, superhero, and me being the sarcastic twerp that I am, I decided, you ever read Garfield? And occasionally he'll tie his blanket around his neck and he's a superhero. So I got my mom's bright orange sweatsuit, because those were a thing. And I used electrician's tape to create these stripes. And then I tied my own blanket, my own blue blanket, on my bed that my mom had no idea I'd smuggled out because she told me not to take it because it would get dirty. I'd smuggled it out in my bag, and people wandered around this Garfield, and people are like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm the Cape Adventure." And they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Yeah, get used to them feels." Yeah.
Superhero Week, or rather, Spirit Week unlocks.
Right.
People.
That actually unlocked
it gives you an excuse.
Me too. I forgot that in high school I actually did a Dragon Ball character for Spirit Week too. I used to take Taekwondo with my brother, and he fell out of it while I was still doing it. So I took his Taekwondo uniform, put it in the washing machine with a box of orange dye, and then painted over the school's logo with King Kai.
See, it's about the passion, people.
It might not be about the skill level, but it's about the passion.
Funny enough, that also unlocked a Spirit Week for me. Because I did a Tachi, and I just taped on clouds onto a jacket.
Oh my god.
And I had braids at the time,
you
so I just pulled that. 2 people knew.
And you love them for it.
Good.
I'm loving all these unlocked memories. Oh, I'm just like, high school, stay back. Stay there. Stay where it is.
I can't. I was president of Anime Club in my high school.
Me too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See,
So actually, this is just a quick tangent, but how we founded Banzai was the Anime Club at Salt Lake Community College, where I was the president, and I got the class council together, and that's how we founded Banzai. So yeah, Anime Club.
That's how I met my husband.
Oh my god. Hey, I married my dungeon master. Don't worry about it. Next question.
This poor moderator.
I'm just I'm enjoying this, but I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So, while we're unlocking these memories and whatnot, so what's the hardest part about getting started as a cosplayer, and how does that compare to where you are now?
Can I start?
Yes.
Okay, back with the brontosauruses. When I first started cosplaying, there were no wigs that you could get in weird colors. There were no thermoplastics. There were no anything. You had to it really made you think outside the box to how on earth am I going to make these things that defy gravity? Thank you, Trinity Blood. Oh my gosh. No, that stuff all just floats around you and is attached to nothing.
Why did you do that?
Oh, so I mean, when I competed at San Diego Comic-Con clear back in 2008, and I was way over my head, and we won an award, a Craftsmanship Award, purely because I believe this isn't canon, purely because we used so many things in our costumes that were never intended to be costumes that the judge just couldn't say no. We were all like, look, see this symbol here? It's actually the bottom of an Easy Mac cup. And this over here, it's supposed to be this little disc that hangs, and we couldn't get it to not catch on things because it had to be heavier. So there's an actual quarter in there. I sacrificed money for this. You know, and we were just going off on all these crazy things that we did because you couldn't, you couldn't make armor out of thermoplastic. The only thing you had was straight up plastic because craft foam really in sheets wasn't a thing. And you had to use either plastic or actual metal. And that's heavy. And you don't want to fly with that crap because it's heavy and they charge you $1 million. So that was the hardest thing is, you know, where are you going to find a bright green wig when they only make natural colored wigs? They don't. You have to dye it. You find out that Sharpies are a thing with hair dyeing, and then you find out that Sharpie will spread all over you when you wear it. That was the hardest thing about getting into is the lack of materials. And now with the things that have been developed purely because of cosplayers. Thermoplastics are a thing because of cosplayers. Multicolored wigs are a thing because of cosplayers, because we're insane. And people like Winter Fox here is like, there is a niche for this. There is a need, and I'm going to fill it. He's doing makeup specifically geared toward cosplayers. And people see a need, feel a need to bring up an old cartoon memory of my daughter's past. I saw that movie more times than I care to remember. Anyway, but you see a need, you feel the need, and so there are now multiple companies that make each of these things out there, and they've been developed because of cosplay. And then you think, like I talked about, the other hard thing was I want to do all these cool things with my performance, but you had lights up, lights down, you're probably in the bottom of on the floor of a gym. And now we have all these cool special effects. We have lighting abilities. We have screens in the background. And so I talk about this with my friends that have also been writing brontosauruses. The changes that have come and how much the bar is raised every single year. We have people walk in when I'm judging a show and they say, "Oh, I'm a beginner. I've never done this before." And you're like, "What? You're not a beginner." You think back to your first cosplay and all the things that you did wrong and your giant hand stitches and you thought it was brilliant, and then you took it all these minute details that the beginner cosplayers are doing, and it's just mind blown. I just cannot wrap my brain around it sometimes. That everything is so amazing nowadays. I just love it. I love it. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
If I could tack on the other half of resources, because I was at that point of things are just starting to get going, that the internet, there's so many easier resources to find a full turnaround of a character, to find the bag, to find tutorials. Like, I had to go to the library and print out single sheets of the character that I could find screenshots online to be like, okay, I need to do the back half, so I need one sheet here and one sheet here, and pay like 25 cents to get all these separate papers. Now you can just be like, oh, there's a whole video on how to make that sword. Yes. And like check it out and save it on your computer rather than go 5 miles down to the library and print out each individual sheet. So the internet has been such a big resource for everything.
Oh, definitely. I don't know, you guys covered it really well, so I'm like, what can I really add to that?
Right? I mean, the only thing I have to say is, like, with stepping stones, I just kind of jumped into it. I didn't know where I was going. I just kind of did it. The following convention after Salt Lake Comic Con, they're like, we're going to have 2 a year, so here's FanX. I was really into Attack on Titan at the time. So I wore my Attack on Titan costume to school, which I got permission to leave early from. So in the middle of like my health class, I got up and left. And that's actually where I ended up meeting Kira, because we met at the train station on the way to there. I ended up being friends with her sister first, and then somehow we ended up friends competing together months later. And it's like, I'm not going to dip my foot because I'm going to trip and just, oh no, I'm doing this now. Yeah. Like that's how I got here.
Jump in.
I fell in.
I was going to add real quick, and then, do you want to go first, Kame, or drop me too?
Whatever.
Okay, I'll be quick. Just tacking onto what you guys have already said, but like the resources for sure, like I feel like it was also helpful because I learned a lot of things I wouldn't have otherwise, because I had to dive in and do research, because I had to learn how to tailor things or how to make a pattern that wasn't quite like the character, but I made it like the character, and I learned how to do like adjustments and tailoring and all that fun stuff. So it was a detriment in some ways, but it also helped us learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice the people who are making the YouTube videos on how to do this were all the people who still ride dinosaurs, and that's never gonna die. And they're the ones who had to learn by experimentation and trial and error. And so we're like, okay, we're gonna save you our pain. This is how you do it.
Like, bless you, thank you. So, I'm gonna get on my soapbox here. I'm actually really happy that I get to end this with a heavy thing. I think that the most important thing and the hardest step to take when you're beginning cosplaying is facing your fear about doing it in the first place. Because I will always remember being terrified to walk out onto the con floor once I had deliberately cosplayed. Like when I accidentally cosplayed and thought I was the coolest thing ever, it was like a cool accident. But when I had put something together and was about to show it to people and was worried I was going to look bad or something went wrong, I actually have a good story for this. I did Choji from Naruto. And I didn't realize how hard it would be to draw the spirals in opposite directions on my face. Like I could draw them both in the same direction, but not opposite directions. And I was in the hotel room like bawling over this because I couldn't get the swirls to go the right way. But I finally put the costume on and went anyway because I was at AX and I had paid a lot of money to be there. And I was so self-conscious and I was so upset about it. It took me forever to actually get out and go because I was nervous to show my work to strangers. But then the second that you do it, it's very rewarding and you get to step into a community that you didn't even realize was there for you to be part of. So beginning cosplay, both competition-wise and just con attendance-wise, is taking that first big step to do something scary will be worth it. And then you need to remind yourself, because as you get better, you will hate your work more. That's just how it works. So
it has to look like crap before it looks better, and you gotta just accept that it looks like crap in the moment.
Just basically, it's a hard thing, do it anyway. Be afraid, but do it anyway.
Yes.
That would be my advice. And I will step off my box now.
You guys are wonderful. All right, so now I'm going to pull questions from the Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I can't even say our podcast name. The Cosplay Stitch and Seam Facebook group. And again, thank you to the group who helped me in my moment of panic where I'm like, help me with questions. They came up with some really, really great ones. So to start with, we have a question from Winter Fox. Someone commented on it and then went, wait, this is for my panel.
I know. I was like, these would be really good questions. I wonder what this is for. And then I looked at my schedule and I was like, oh no, I think I did myself dirty. I really liked the first question that you asked of how do you stop yourself from burning out? Because a lot of times once you get into cosplay, everyone just goes hard. And you keep going and going and going, and then suddenly you're in burnout. So what do you do to help yourself not burn out? I would say personally take breaks. I get burnt out every 5 to 7 business minutes. Yeah, I'm burnt out a lot. I don't pace myself. I try to get as much done of anything, whether it's cosplay or work or just like anything that I'm doing. And I've learned that also kind of hinders my performance on what I could actually be doing with it and like my craftsmanship. So I've now come to like a thing where, okay, well, today I'll cut out the fabric and pin it together. And tomorrow I might make some adjustments to it. So for me, it's a lot of just taking breaks and kind of pacing my time out. Because if I try to do everything all at once, I'm going to get burnt out and not want to touch the costume. And suddenly I'm con crunching in a hotel room after TSA stole my things again.
Oh, TSA story. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
I'm such a terrible example of this. If anyone follows my TikTok, it's like a new cosplay every day. And I record all of it in like a day. And then I guess for me, it's rewarding myself because I'll take say Tuesday and Wednesday, make sure I have 3 cosplay plans for each day, record, take pictures, set up my audios, and then I go, when I finish these, I get to play Comfy Grove or Cozy Grove, or I get to play Animal Crossing. Aww. So once I get this done, I can sit on the bed with my Isabelle plushie and just play Animal Crossing.
Aww,
so
that's cute.
I try to reward myself because I know I push myself way too hard. But when I slow down, I get in a rut so I have to kind of keep myself going, then I reward myself with playing video games to kind of relax and chill it all out.
I like that. For me, like I only recently in the last couple of years I was diagnosed with ADHD, which made a lot of sense for how I process and do things. But it also helped me like learn better techniques for organizing my time and making good use of that time. And burnout is so real. But one of the things they suggested is to, like Fox was saying, like force yourself to take breaks. And not just that, but like force yourself to step away from these projects for even like days, a week at a time, and just do things that you find fun. And I know it makes the fun things sometimes start to feel like a chore, but by the time I was like done with my allotted fun time, I was like, all I want to do is work on it. I just want to work on it. I can't work on it, but I have to do my fun time. I want to work on it. Which doesn't always work well when you're in a con crunch time. But for me, when I am like, I have to hit my deadline and it's like right before the con, what has really helped me is using things like music or an episode of something that you like that you can just put on in the background and go, okay, I'm going to work on my costume just for the duration of this episode, and then I'll at least have worked on it today. And it's a way of tricking my brain into going like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do it for the duration of this episode and then we'll be done, and that we'll be able to check that off the box. But odds are, like by the time I've gotten started, I'm just in a groove and I will keep going, and it'll be 3 episodes down the line and I have made a lot more progress than I thought. So it's just a lot of like tips and tricks into like making yourself get into the mood, because you're not always gonna be in the mood to do it.
I got some realness again. I'm not here for any practical advice, friends. I am here to be the psychologist, I guess, on the panel, which is, you know, does true crime count as research for psychology? I don't know. I think for me, this was actually a really good question for me recently, as Sarah knows, because I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia about a year ago. And I've been cosplaying for longer than a year. And I had all of these habits that I was like, all right, 2 weeks before the con is when I do my best work. I'll just kick it out and it'll be great, and then I'll have it. And so with fibro, if you get stressed out, you can put yourself into a flare. And I was stressed out because the con was 2 weeks away. And then I ended up not being able to move for 5 days. So I was like, I had to make a really hard choice. And the choice that I made was to drop out of the contest. And that's really hard for me because the contest is like my favorite part of cons. And I was really excited to be part of the contest because Sarah does an amazing job.
Aw, thank you.
And it made me think about a lot of things because I was like, wow, the way that I cosplay is really going to have to change. I can't do what I've always done. And as I was pondering this, staring at my ceiling on 3 heating pads with an ice pack on my face, I thought about, you got to remind yourself while you're trying to break yourself to do this really cool thing, remind yourself why you're doing it. Like, you want to go have fun. I'll always remember, Patton will remember this. There was a competition that her and I were both part of, and we killed ourselves to enter this competition. And we entered the competition. And the performance went spot on perfect, which is like not a thing that happens. And we were given our trophy. And literally the entire group was like, great, good, fine. I'm glad we got something for all this garbage. And then we all went and changed out of our costumes. We weren't happy. We didn't feel satisfied because all we'd done for the last 3 weeks was fight with each other and fight with these costumes. And it was a big mess. And so when you're trying to finish something for a con or for a group or for a contest, and you rob yourself of the joy that you were chasing originally, you're gonna play yourself. So you remind yourself what's fun about cosplay. And it's hard, because a lot of times you'll tell yourself, well, crafting is what's fun. I like to craft. I want to show off my cool thing. That's true. You do. But you have friends there who know that you can craft or who you're excited to craft with. You can hang out with them. You can talk with them. You can reach out to friends and see if you can get help. That's something else too. But don't forget the point. And the point is different for everybody else.
Yeah.
So don't forget the point. And if the point is that you want to be with your friends, you can always do that in another costume or do it another time. It is okay to drop, or I don't drop anything. It's okay to push something off to another con or another experience.
Yes.
It will be worth it for your health, your mental health, and for the costume, because nothing's worse than looking at it and going, that was a dream cosplay. And I hate how it looks.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
Like when you're just like this, I have been dreaming about this for 10 years.
To segue, go ahead.
No, I was like, I've been dreaming about doing this for 10 years and I finally did it and I never want to look at it again, is not a good feeling.
See, to segue off of that, the way I know I'm getting burned out, because I tend to just push and push, because I'm like, I'm in the groove, I know the thing, is when I stop having fun. And there was a time when I would just go every con, compete, and I'd have a new thing, and it would have to be competition level every time, and it was great, and I had super fun. And I was with my friends, and we all competed together, and then I have a lot stronger sewing background than a lot of them did. I did a lot of theater beforehand. I grew up with sewing, being around it. And so I did costumes for regional professional theater companies before I ever knew about cosplay. And so we would be getting Craftsmanship Awards, and I would be the one making all the costumes, and that led to some harsh feelings, because they felt like the only one who was actually getting the award was me. So they would go on to do their group thing, because they felt they could do it at a lower level as long as I wasn't included. And so that made me feel very ostracized, because I wasn't wanted, because I kept, blowing the bell curve. And then, and that hurt, because that's kind of what I was doing cosplay for, was to be with my friends and have fun with that. And, I thought we were all having a good time together. And they were like, well, we were having fun, hanging out with you and holding the things while you were pinning them. But, meh. So I ended up on my own, and I wasn't having fun anymore, and I was lonely. And so I pulled back for a year, because cosplay is for fun. There's play in the word cosplay. If you're not having fun doing it, why are you doing it?
Well, and not to jump in on that,
No,
you'll find, once you get into the cosplay community, you will bump into people who will be really bitter towards cosplay.
Oh, yeah.
Or towards the cosplay
and I
community.
don't ever want to get that
And
way.
they'll be really, really mad about something they think happened, or mad at
perceived
themselves for not
slight,
being as
or-
good, or bitter about events. And what it comes down to is, if you notice yourself getting to that point where when you're talking about cosplay,
Take a step
most
back.
of what you talk about is how disappointing it's been to you or frustrating it's been, it's time to take a step back.
So,
because you
yeah.
originally got into it because
For
you
fun.
liked it. You
So-
started doing it because it made you happy, and you can get back there.
Yeah.
So you need to step back if it's not giving you that joy, because you can refine it. You can rekindle that joy. You just have to give yourself some perspective.
Yeah, so I took a year off to do that, to give myself perspective. I went to a couple cons, it was weird. I went to a couple cons where I was wearing costumes I already had done, and I wasn't competing, and that was an eye-opener. I'm like, wow, there's a whole con out there that isn't a green room and isn't judging. Don't get me wrong, green room is my favorite part of cosplay competitions. It is
It's a
a
good
party.
It's so fun.
Even with COVID, I think everybody had a good time in the green room. And so I took a step back and realized that, wow, I could actually just watch a costume contest. And it was inspiring, because I could see what other people did without the pressure of being in the contest. And then I picked a passion project. I picked something that I was dying to do, and it had all kinds of challenging things for me. Things that I had never accomplished or hadn't dreamed of, that I wanted to take time to actually sit and work out how I would create this. And something that I was just dying to cosplay, and it was going to take time. I didn't want to rush it. And I ended up with my Vivaldi Queen of Hearts ball gown. And it, and I had to figure out how to make that giant whisk in the heart-shaped whisk in the back stay standing up without having the structure, because that's attached to a bolero. I couldn't have wiring going down my back, because it's an open back dress that goes low, and then she has a bolero across the back. So if I had any of the wires showing coming down, to hold it up like you would an Elizabethan whisk, because that's how they did them in Queen Elizabeth the first time, you would show. And that's not how they drew it. I don't think artists understand how fabric works. I really don't.
No.
There's no seams, there's no closures, there's gravity-defying strangeness.
I mean, talking about video games.
Yes, I was like, I always appreciate the artists who understand clothing because you can actually see the seams. I'm like, oh, they get it. They understand my pain. And then you think of artists like, I always blame Thoris, who does all the art book art for Journey to Blood. And he's just kind of the cosplay this. I'm determined that's his brain every time he paints
I want to
something
write
new.
letters explaining what seams are
Yeah,
to
you're
just
like-
various mangaka
PDFs
and
of
mass
sewing
mailing.
tutorials.
Yeah, you want to send out this is how a sewing machine works. Please do that.
Square Enix.
Square Enix.
Belts. Why?
How do they walk in those shoes?
Luckily, though, they started releasing costume guides for each of their
Yes,
characters.
yes, it's
Yeah.
They're
nice.
starting to do that more often with companies, which is like,
I think they've realized that we're going to cosplay it whether they want us to or not.
Yeah.
Are
When Horizon
I'm
Zero
coming
Dawn
for
did
it.
that with
But
AOA, I was like,
competed
yes.
in it. I had a wonderful time. It was the first time I'd ever done a show with Jez Roth. He was running the show. It was my first experience, being in a show with him because the first time I met him, I was actually a judge and I was judging him. That was different. And I got to just enjoy being in this wonderful dress that I'd put all of my heart and soul into and took my time with. So it was exactly how I wanted it to look. And I found the fun again. I found the love again. So if you find yourself no longer enjoying it, you find yourself no longer, having fun with it, take a step back. I mean, I have people who are like, oh, well, what if I don't make my costume? Can I still get burned out? Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
You can. You're dressed as Itachi and you're walking through the hallways and you can't get 10 feet without people getting in your way, without people stepping in your costume, without people wanting pictures. It'll ruin the con for you if you're not prepared for it or if you're not in the mood for it and you don't have the spoons, and so you can burn out. You can be like, I was in this great costume that I purchased and I loved it, but it ruined the con for me.
Or if you're in a group and you always get stuck in the same role, that's something that can burn you out. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like
I'm the
if
mom
you always
character.
get stuck in the same role, so if you're in a performance group, a dance group, even just a partnership, and you don't get to stretch your wings because people are like, and this is your character.
Yeah, you're the third spirit carrier from the left that no one knows because you only show up in 2 panels in the anime or in the manga. Yeah.
Or like for me, they're just kind of like, and here's the big manly one, and I'm like, I do like him.
Kalika's got something
But there's
to say.
8 other characters, and they're just like, here's yours.
I just wanted to tack on too. I'm kind of currently going through that break, and a year ago, it actually led up to Xehanort. Our group
Brilliant.
did a huge cosplay, and it was a mess. And we all got into fights, and we were all so upset with each other. And we all liked the anime, but I cosplayed a character that I never wanted to cosplay, but I wanted to be a part of the group.
And you were a son.
Yeah, and I am always the mom character or the side character or the sister character kind of thing. And I like those characters, but they're characters I never really want to cosplay. I just like them. And so leading up to that, we had all gotten into such a bad fight that we all kind of just quit doing Masquerade for a while, and we all separated and started doing things on our own. And I think Xehanort was that. I want to do something so ridiculous that I can use my skills, but also feel like me again. And after I had won Best Journeyman for that competition, and the judges were like...
Dude, you shaved your head.
I shaved my head completely. And the judges are like, we have never seen you shine to the front and show off your talents.
And I'm talking about the shine of the bald head.
You just sparkle so hard.
And it was so insane to actually feel like I was important and I was a contribution to the group, even though when we do a lot of contests, I write a lot of it. I sing a lot of it, and I put a lot of it together, but I'm always the side character. I'm in the back, or I'm the mom. So doing that cosplay brought back that love that I had for writing parodies, for making people laugh. And the best thought or thing I can ever get when I do in competitions and I look out to the judges and someone is face planted. I've done it to Heather 3 times.
Yep.
That's so much joy for me just to see the judges themselves I can't, why are you like this?
This is a thing, why? You hate me.
Yeah, I think sorry, I keep jumping in. You can totally tell me to shut up. I think one of the biggest, so I was actually just saying, I was like, this shocks me because you sparkle and shine so bright in every room you're in. And so the fact that you didn't feel like you got to share that with us, that was our loss. Oh my gosh. Now, like, I think that's the biggest thing is we all have something that we feel like we can contribute. That's why we do it. And so if you don't feel like you're contributing what you wanted to bring, it's okay to say, hey, I know, I'm trying to think of a group. It's like, hey, I know you guys need, we'll just use the one that happened. I know you guys need a Mori senpai. I know you need one, but I don't think I want to do that. Yeah. You might need to go without or find a different one. Mm-hmm. If you feel you want to say that, you can. If you feel like you don't care that you wouldn't normally cosplay that and you're just doing it because they're your friends, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with cosplaying something to fill out a group if you're comfortable, but if you're not, speak up, and your friends might be super upset until they get to the con and realize nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody cares if you're missing a Mori. Yeah. Like, they really don't. And so it's okay, just speak up for yourself. Understand your boundaries, listen to your body, listen to your comfort level. And if you get the cringy squirms about something that you have said you will do, listen to the cringy squirms. Yes. They are trying to tell you that you're not happy about something. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I absolutely love all of this. And it's this last part discussing like playing characters and whatnot is actually going to lead to the next question. But I want to summarize really quick. It's essentially to avoid burnout, know yourself, and get out there and try new things. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, don't make every convention the same. Try something different each time that helps avoid the burnout. I really love all this. And also make sure that you're cosplaying what you want to cosplay. And that leads into the next question is what inspires or motivates you to cosplay a character? Kalika starts laughing. You go first.
As I've said many times, when it's a competition, it's what's the first thing I can do to make the judges laugh?
Oh, and real quick, this question was from Cassie.
So for competition-wise, it's either how can I make the judges laugh? Can I invoke an emotion? So if anytime I look out and the judges look like they're crying or the judges look like they're laughing, then I've accomplished what I want to do.
Yeah, I actually told them in the green room yesterday that no one was allowed to do Bye-Bye Butterfree again. Because I cried my makeup off and I looked terrible on stage.
That's one of my favorite
And that is my legacy.
Oh no, I loved it, but I cried so hard I looked terrible on stage, so no one's allowed to do that ever again.
And then from doing con stuff, a lot of times when I go to conventions, I like the attention and having fun, so I will pick something that might be a series that a lot of people know, just so I can find more people like me. And then like for the last day of con, I always pick something comfortable. So I'll be like, well, like Isabel, I love Isabel, and this is just a sweater. So people saw me all day and were like, Isabel, but at the same point, I'm not dying. I'm comfortable. So a lot of the times the things that inspire me are things like, can I make someone laugh with this? Can I make someone's day with this? Can I make someone smile? And can I also just feel comfortable while doing it? You know, I pick very obscure series and characters, like Xehanort was such no one's ever done this before, and I'll shave my head. And my husband was like, you need me to what now? Because he sat there shaving my head while doing it. So it's the wow factor or just something.
I love how you incorporated him into your skit. Yeah. He became like the PR man who was handing out CDs of his singles by the character. And the judges, we were just holding this and watching her skit and looking back at the CD and we're like, dying because we weren't even sure what we were supposed to be doing.
If I can explain that skit really fast. So I was like, all right, something that's a skill set I need to learn how to do, which was fixing hems and getting things proper on my costumes so they looked lined up properly. And I had to make belts and stuff. So I was like, that's a skill set I need to learn, so I'll do that. I picked Xehanort because I was like, he's weird, and I've never done old man makeup like this, and I'll shave my head. And so the whole skit was basically I was doing a 90s commercial that was promoting songs. So it was like, get your CD today kind of thing. And I parodied a bunch of Disney songs, and like, I think an NSYNC song.
Yep.
And
I still have that CD. I still have it. Oh my
and my husband has witnessed me go, okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm parodying 5 to 6 different songs. We'll just do a small part for stage, but I'm going to parody the entire song, and we're going to put it on a CD, and I'm going to make cover art for the CD, and we're going to give it to the judges. So I need you to run by and drop them on every judge's space. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, so then we're gonna do this. And I'm gonna go on stage and I'm gonna do shots and I'm gonna put on some shades and they're gonna light up. And he's like,
This is when you know he loves you.
Sad because for that performance, I couldn't find an Organization 13 jacket at the same time. If I could, I would have just been an organization member running back and forth.
Man, we were dying.
So just
I think
getting
we
that.
missed half your skit because we were laughing so hard. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing.
so just doing stuff that's laughter inducing, smiles, because the more I see other people laugh and have fun, the more I'm having fun with it. And the amount of people who are just like, you shaved your head? And I'm like, it's just hair, whatever.
You grow back.
It grow back. I don't care.
For me, like, this came up actually during our Cosplay Contest 101 panel, because there was a question about, like, how do you pick a costume for competition? Do you look for something that's really difficult? Do you look for something that involves the techniques you want to use? And, like, on one hand, yes, but I also I pick things I love. I pick characters that inspire me. My friends make fun of me because I always like the same tropey characters and Tommy's just giving me the eye. Just like I can pick which ones she will love, she knows which ones I will love. But oftentimes it's just the character, and I'm just so like enamored with the character and how they act and like their backstory or something like that. And you can always make something really amazing, even if it's a simple costume. You can learn new techniques. You can weave things yourself. You can learn specific tailoring things. You can dye the fabrics. Like there are ways to make a very ordinary feeling costume up to a master level craftsmanship. So I don't think it necessarily has to have bells and whistles and moving parts to be something amazing that inspires you. It can just be the character that you love and have a lot of feelings about. I mean, I will definitely say there have been times I have looked at a costume and just been like, I want to do that.
Man, I hope I like that character when they
Bobby
talk.
Duke, I want that.
Just like,
Please don't let this character die. Please don't let this character die.
The eternal begging.
So there's definitely somewhere I'm just like, I want to do that because I want to try this technique, and I've been dying to find a costume that would let me try this technique. But I will say, like, in the long run, the characters that I love and have an emotional attachment to, I have so much a higher success rate in finishing and enjoying the competitions with than ones that I pick just because I was like, well, that one's technically difficult and I want to do it. So, I mean, it could be either one. Just pick the one that's going to, like, inspire your creative side and let you try all kinds of new things. Pick the one that is going to give you the doki dokis in your heart and make you happy.
Can I quick, fast add to that too?
Yeah.
When I want to learn a new technique sometimes too, I like making jujinkas or the humanoid versions of like Pokemon and stuff. So I'll be like, well, I really like this Pokemon and I want to learn how to make a ball gown like this. So what if I took a Gengar and turned it into an entire haunted house ball gown kind of thing?
That is so cool.
And so instead of just being like, that character's pretty, I'll go, that has no design. How do I make it cooler?
Oh my gosh, okay, for real. That's been my thing, like, recently, where I've taken video games where the characters are this big and they're pixels. And I'm like,
Yes.
I love this character. I don't see their faces. They don't emote because they're itty bitty tiny little pixels. But I've been like, okay, they're in this world. What can I do? You know, like, I look at what I have come to love about cosplays, and I'm putting it into, like, it's scary because I've not done custom designs before, and I'm like, I hope this looks good.
So much fun.
But it's exciting at the same time, and I'm enjoying every minute of, like, just trying new things. You know, so just kind of go with, what makes the doki dokis in your heart? What makes you feel good? You feel inspiration suddenly, and you're like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do.
Another thing that is inspiring, but the exact opposite of the Doki Dokis is the spite costume. Yes. The challenge accepted costume. And sometimes those are even more fulfilling than the Doki Doki costumes. Yes. The one I'm wearing right now is a spite costume. I was told by someone that you could not make an award-winning costume unless you spent thousands of dollars on it. You had 3D printers and resin things, and I'm like,
watch me.
And they're like, so you will never, and they told me, now that you've hit this master's level and you're going nationally to different places, you will never win an award because you can't afford all of these things. And I was like, watch me. Yes. So, my cosplay partner, A Sandwich Cosplay, who is currently running a panel right now, or she'd be in here. They would be in here. I'm still working on pronouns. I'm sorry if I offend anyone. They would still be in here. But we said, fine, we're going to do, and I have a couple degrees, and one of them happens to be in history. And so I love A Bride Story, which is all about the Silk Road at the beginning of the 1800s, and when the Russians are starting to encroach, and all these different things. And so it covers all these beautiful cultures, and it talks about these cultures, and the costumes are just to die for. So I said, what we're going to do is we are going to do everything as authentically historical as possible. And so we did research to what the symbols in the embroidery are, because embroidery is so important in this manga. It's never been made into an anime, but it's so important because it was important to the culture, because girls and women would spend their whole lives up to their marriage embroidering things that were their dowry, and it was proof that they were worthwhile. They would be a good homemaker, and that they were a good woman. So we ended up, oh my gosh. Her costume and my costume each cost less than $200. We have real linens, real cottons, silks. We couldn't do wools because A Sandwich is allergic to it. Mm-hmm. And it was we were doing it at AX, the 4th of July weekend in LA. So we don't hate ourselves. So we avoided the wools and things like that. But there is no modern fabric in this costume. I don't have any interfacing. It's all done by starched cheesecloth. It took me 1,000 hours to make this costume. But, I've got all this embroidery, blah, 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 blah. But it was kind of spite. I will do this and show you you are wrong. I will do this and show you you are wrong. It is worth it to me to show you that this is possible. And that anyone can cosplay. It doesn't matter what your background, what your money situation is, what you have available to you. And so we did. We went to AX, and in these costumes, we won Best Overall Construction.
Woo!
Yeah!
It's a very, very cute performance that lives in my head rent-free.
Kami was back there easing my nerves. I was so stressed out at that point.
You were amazing.
I'm just happy I got
And we decided to include a story in our costumes, because the one I'm wearing, the main character Amir, was learning. She was still learning her embroidery. She's been wearing this outfit for a while, and she embroidered it while being on horseback because she's from a horse tribesman. So there are built-in flaws in this costume, whereas A Savage's costume, Amir sews for her tiny husband because she has to marry someone sight unseen, and it ends up being a young boy of 10, and she's 18. But she's so happy about it because he's not this dirty old man that's going to take advantage of her and then die, and she'll be left high and dry. So she's so thrilled, and so he gets ill, and she's so terrified because she just adores him. She's terrified she's going to lose him. So while he's sick in bed with a fever and just, she's sitting next to him around the clock embroidering this new outfit full of safety and health embroidery patterns into it. So hers is flawless, and it has much more wealthy fabrics in it because she's married into a wealthier family. So, and we put this story in, and we told this story to the judges, and the judges were just like, oh, so you did this on purpose. It's wrong on purpose. We're like, yes, it is. And and we proved it. We proved that you could do that. So spite is also a great motivator.
Yes.
Sorry, this is a long story to say.
Yeah, it's
you
about
can have
the
a lot
passion.
of motivation.
I have a
It's
lot
like
of spite.
a subclass of passion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just right there.
Well, I was like,
No,
what I love
absolutely.
about this question so much is just how many, like, you can ask any cosplayer this, and the story will just, like, come through it. Yeah.
I
No,
too
I
have
have
a lot
one
of
for
spite
that with
cosplays, so.
when Melissa and I were doing World Cosplay Summit. It took us 4 years to finally get the U.S. title, but in that time, every year, I swear we had people going, "Well, you're never gonna get it. You're plus size. You're never gonna get it. You're plus size." And we were like, "Watch us do
You
it."
were like, don't tell me what I can't do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then 2014, and And we did it.
Eat this, crow person.
Like, as a side note, I get told that a lot for my skin color, and they're like, you can't do that because that person is this color, and I go, watch me.
Yes.
I've cosplayed Miku and Junko and all of everyone's favorite waifus, and even 02, who's in a tight suit, just because they're like, well, you're plus size and black, so that's not going to look good. And I'm like,
BS.
oh, okay, well, that's happening now. Thank you for adding to my cosplay list.
Yes.
Really quick, just got a heads up that the room over there is about to get very, very loud. So if anyone wants to move up closer, you are welcome to. Just giving you all a heads up. So.
We don't bite, or at least we don't break the
Sometimes.
skin. We have our shots, right? Right.
Yes.
Right. I do.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this thing that I've been wanting to do since we started talking.
Hello.
You're very inspiring to me.
Oh.
Can I just add, I have so many senpais on this panel right now, and I'm like dripping in serotonin because I'm like,
Now you are the senpai.
oh god, too much pressure for that one.
Feel them feels.
Aw. Uh-oh. Did anybody lose an SD card?
Let me see that.
Oh, it might be Sudi's.
Actually, it's mine. I think it's mine. If the bag opened, you have the pouch open. It is mine.
Okay.
Hey, okay. All right, was everybody able to answer that question that wanted to?
Yes.
All right, let's go on to the next one then. All right, so this one is 2 questions from Sakura Rogan and Marianne. They're both kind of asking similar questions, so I kind of wanted to put them together. Is essentially like, how do you plan for a costume? What is your process when figuring out the materials, how to create items or cosplays? And I kind of want to start with this one.
Go for it.
Because I have something that I'm obsessed with doing. Now, I know not everybody can draw, so if you want me to, I will draw for you. I love drawing out everything. A lot of times for my job, I work long and later hours because it's an after-school program versus being in school. And so a lot of times I just don't have time to do this at home. But I'll just sit there and I'll just be sketching while also working on stuff for my work and coming up with the layers. I'll start with the bottom layer, be like, okay, what are they wearing? I'll skip the underwear part because underwear is just a given. I hope.
In some
there are some characters where I'm like, I bet that
There
one
are
does
some where
not.
you have to, like the one I'm wearing, you have to learn the historical underdressing.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. But that's also super cool. I'm working on a plan right now for a book character
Oh, yes.
that I'm like, I'm gonna do her underwear too.
Underpinnings are important.
Right.
But
It's
please
like,
wear them one way or another.
oh yes. Yes. You. It's probably a little more comfortable if you do. But anyways, I like to just draw every single layer, and I'll put it on like different layers in I don't use Photoshop, but drawing programs, whichever one I'm using, because I switch between them all the time. And it helps me just kind of like figure out how pieces fit together. And if I'm drawing for somebody else, I'll talk with them too and be like, okay, this character doesn't have a seam because video game designers are weird. Where do you want that seam? And then I'll draw on there for them. I essentially like create their own reference images. And it's so nice to have that because it's now like I can plan now and go out and start buying the materials that I need. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
Can I add on to that?
Jump on
Because
it,
I have
go.
to jump out to a meeting in a
Yes.
second. There are also sketchbooks that you can get nowadays that have what's called a Croakies.
Croakies Sketchbook.
And what it is, it's a pre-drawn like body shape, and you can even get them. I get the ones in plus size.
What?
Yeah, and it's just like some very like sketchy drawn like body types. I'll show it to you later.
I need them because I want
And
to
they're
draw
like
more plus
blanks.
size.
They're like blank models, and you can draw on the model, and it shows a front and a back and a
Look
side
at that
view.
mind blown look.
And I know.
I need this in my life.
And what I do when I'm starting a project is I will draw layers like you were talking about, but I'll also do like the front, back, and side because it allows me to be like, oh, okay, I already see it on this form, and even if I can't draw very well, I can still go, okay, it's going to hit me right here at this hip, so that's where I want the hem. I'm going to do the sleeve like this, and it's want to be this big or this long. And it's so helpful in planning, especially like for things like Yijinka, like original designs.
Yes.
Because it lets me like be creative with like where I want to put, like maybe hide an emblem from the character. Maybe I want to like incorporate the Pokemon's number somewhere in there. Maybe I want to like put a gym badge somewhere on the Pokemon's costume.
Actually sounds really cool.
And it just like gives me a chance to sketch everything out and get everything from my brain to the paper. But yeah, I would say that's also usually where I start, is like looking for references, but also it helps me to get it down. What I'm going to do is when I can get it on paper, layer by layer, and just know everything that I'm going to be constructing.
Yes.
Another thing that I like to do when I'm planning out, starting out a costume, is trying to plan out my time management. And I make a to-do list, or so you can mark that, check those boxes off, so you can see how much you have done, but also what you have left to do. And there's a lot of apps. I have the app Cost Planner.
Yes.
And so you can have references on there. You can mark what you do and don't need to do. It'll give you a countdown, which can be really nerve-wracking. I know Sashimi did that. And she's like, would you stop counting down?
These are my dreams.
Yeah. But it also gives you a really good checklist. So you're like, okay, I know this is going to take me a while, so I need to start this first. Or something else I'm going to be able to do really quickly. Or this piece is crucial. If I don't have this done, the costume doesn't happen. So I'm going to work on that first, and I can work through it. So I can visualize my time management, because I've had too many bad experiences of con crunching in the hotel room and not being able to join the con. Because then you've lost the play, you've lost the fun. It's not worth it anymore. It's just a stress fest, which we all hate. And it can cause flare-ups, or like I have depression and anxiety, and then I end up hating it, and I never want to do it again. I never want to see it again, even though it's a quality costume. So you want to, before you ever start, you need to realize, okay, when is my deadline, and I need to plan out. And obviously you're going to have things that go wrong, so they're going to take longer, or things go easier than you thought. And you can adapt from there, but you want to do your time management so that you're not feeling overwhelmed by what you're doing.
And to jump off of what you said, one of the things that I only recently started doing, and I keep smoothing this jacket because this was an example of it, is I had plans. They were great. They were going to be awesome for this costume that I was going to wear. And when it got kind of close, I was like, okay, I had my whole checklist of things that I needed to do for this costume, and I stopped and I was like, I need to make some backup costumes. I need to make sure that if I have to drop, I'm gonna have something to wear. So always plan a comfy backup, like something that you're going to wear if you have to drop. And set a date for if I hit this date and I'm not done, it's time to drop this project and work on my backup costumes. And I did that this time. And so I just had this comfy jacket that my beautiful friends helped me make. And then I did like a little Raver Pikachu thing. And it was fun to work on it without freaking out about competition. I had a whole week to do it. So I was able to make those two costumes and still wear something at the con, instead of like, you get there, like Sarah was saying, you didn't bring anything except for the thing that you were working on because you were going to wear it. Now you can't wear it, and now you're crying, and you spent money to be here, and it's the worst thing ever.
And it's weird wearing civvies to a con where you didn't plan to wear civvies.
Exactly. You didn't want to just wear clothes. You wanted to wear an imaginary person's clothes. And so it's definitely one of the things that I'm going to try and get better at.
That is the best way to phrase that ever. I want to wear an imaginary person's clothes.
I love it.
You are free to use it.
I'm a little bit weird because, like, I don't know, I can tell how something feels just by staring at it. So with video games and everything, I will stare at a video game character's reference art for hours. And then as soon as we're at a fabric store, I'm touching everything. I'm like, this doesn't feel like what it's supposed to feel like.
This doesn't. I love watching, the people that work at fabric stores. When you pick up a fabric and you do that, you wave it back and forth. How does this flow? And I'm like, and they look at you like you have all these quilter ladies who are looking at you like, why are you doing that to my calico? You don't understand. It waves beautifully.
Well, when we go to Anime Expo, we always go to the fashion district, and Kira has to stop me because I will grab every fabric and I will touch it, and I'm like, this will not flow that same way because it doesn't feel the way that I know it's supposed to feel. And I'm usually right about it, which I hate because I want to be wrong. I want to use this fabric for this thing, but I know that it's not going to flow the right way. So I will put this really pretty color down and be sad about it a day later. And like, it doesn't feel the way that I need it to feel.
And you like hold it and you're like,
Yeah.
what can I do to it to change its
Like-
drape? Can I?
like the reason I haven't worked on Arden from Final Fantasy 15 is because like I cannot find the right fabric that I know will work for me
But you
because
know
I have to
it
touch it
exists.
before I can use
You're
it.
like, I know this exists.
You know, the thing is, you
Yeah.
know it exists because
I'm
you're.
like-
And then if you're like me, like my wife knows the names of all these fabrics. I do not. I'm like, it's like the one where you can see the weave, but you can also feel the weave, but not too
Yes.
much.
I did
That
it.
one.
I did it to Kara like every other
Like
day.
that
I'm like, what is
thing.
this? What is this fabric? I know
I'm
what
just
it
like-
feels like, but I don't know how to.
I just chase
What is
people
it?
doing my little like.
I'm like,
The little wavy fingers.
I want one that does like and not like
yeah,
Like,
I get it. I get you. you.
nonverbal cosplay communication. We got it.
Just a small tack on to even designing out your costumes. So I didn't want to sew a costume, but I had this dress that I had made, or I used for like Buette. And then I was like, I really want to do Persephone from Lord Olympus. Yes. So I sat here and I stared at it and I took a picture of it and then I put it on my iPad. And I could have done it on this too, but I have art stuff. So I just kind of doodled over it. Knowing exactly like, oh, this is what I kind of want it to look like because I already know what the dress looks like. So I'm like,
That's awesome.
it looks like anybody who doesn't know what it is like, why is there just a bunch of pink splotches? I'm like, those are flowers. It's just flowers.
You're like, shut up and eat it.
So like that's an easy thing if people don't really like draw or they don't really know. You can just kind of finger paint like, I know that's supposed to be a rose, so that's all that matters. I'll just fix it to me, you know. And I draw, but I'm not in the mood to draw, so I'm just gonna finger paint.
Oh, finger painting's great. As long as it helps you get that idea out there. Like, and now you're like, okay, I'm gonna build it.
And I wore that day too here, so.
And it was amazing. I loved it.
So, when was a time, and this question is from Kaylin, when was a time where a skill you developed for cosplay ended up being a lifesaver in a different context? So, example, I do a lot of hand stitching and a lot of leather work, and my husband comes up to me and he's like, my work gloves have holes in them. And I was like, I can fix them. I can actually do that. That's cool.
We have the technology.
Yes. I was like, here, give those to me. And I was like, oh, and then, this piece of leather will work and it's soft on the inside. Stitch it. There you go.
I like to play with resins and JB Weld. I will JB Weld anything just because I can, and I have JB Weld handy. Don't leave me in a room with JB Weld at all. That's not safe. And I used to work at a scout camp. I was the aquatics director, so I taught Cub Scouts and kids 11 to 18, just aquatics things. We had this boat, got a massive hole in it, and I was like, I know how to fix this. And because of my resin playing with cosplay and everything, I flipped that boat upside down, poured some resin, fiberglass resin, fiberglass paper, JB welded some of the sides shut, and completely repaired a boat because I was playing with resins a year earlier.
That's awesome.
It was insane.
I actually, because of working on props and things, I helped. You know, we had to tear out our bathtub and redo the plumbing around it and then put it back in. And I'm like, okay, this is how you do the caulking and make it nice and smooth. This is the type of fixture we need. You walk into Home Depot and they're like, what weird thing do you need today? Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm actually using it for what it's intended today. I know what it is. It's the thing with the loopy hole that it's over there. Yeah. And I'm like, you use it for the necklaces? And they're like, that's not what it's for. Okay, well, I know I'm going to use it for what it's for. Where is it? It's over there. Okay, fine. But yeah, I walk in and there's like these 3 ladies that have been working at Home Depot for an eternity. They still ride dinosaurs too. And they come in, they're like, oh, show me the picture of what weird thing you're doing today. What is your weird thing today? You know, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing this. Oh, no, my favorite, I actually walked in and said, oh, I'm doing this. And they're like, oh, that's like, you're actually plumbing something. I'm sorry, I disappointed you.
So, question. I'm hard of hearing and I missed the question.
Oh, it is.
What have you learned in a cosplay that saved the day in a real world situation?
Yes.
That's what I put together through context, but I just wanted to confirm. and then I'm apparently going to answer. So once again, I don't like to answer normal questions normally. So I'm sure it's like super obvious to everyone that I'm really shy and like don't like to talk to people. But no, seriously, I am super anxious. And I was going through this time where I needed to get a job, any job, and the job that fell into my lap was actually teaching. And I was like, I am terrified to do this all day, every day, standing in front of people and trying to keep their attention on me. And then I had this moment where I was like, standing in front of people who I don't know, who are openly judging me, who I need to keep their attention on me. Okay, I can do that. And so it was very much the practice on stage. And even though like there were hard days, it was literally this thing where I saw it as a stage. I was like, all right. I straight up did the like, here I go. Time to dance for kindergartners. But it was like, it really helped. I think me before cosplay would have straight up fainted if I had to have a job where I was constantly being looked at by preteens who were waiting to laugh at me. I did kindergarten through 6th grade. It was scary. I did it all at the same time. But yeah, so that was where it saved me.
Relate.
Huh?
Relate.
Yes.
Teachers are like, unite.
Yep. I actually when I got a same job as what she used to do, I was like, Carmen, help me. How do I do this?
How do I dance for the children in a way that teaches them about technology?
Also, why are they all using Macs?
Yes. But I actually remember too when I worked at my call center job for the first time, the first call center job I ever did, I was having a panic attack before I got on the phones because people are scary. You wouldn't know that I feel that way, but it's a thing. And so I was hyperventilating, and this girl who does Ren Fair stuff, who was a friend of mine, came over and she was just like, you're just going to play pretend. You're going to cosplay someone who knows what they're doing right now. And I was like, I can do that. And you literally can. I'm like, oh, I can't be me right now, but I'm going to create this like OC, and I'm going to cosplay him, and I'm going to go to work.
Yeah, it's like the phone rings and the ding, I'm on stage and smiling, and how can I help you? I'm that one weird chick on the show that's always happy. And you're like, yes, I'm happy, I'm here to help you. You yell at me, go ahead, I'm fine with this.
There's
and
that
they hang up
TikTok
and you're
where
like,
like you're staring at the phone going, don't, hello. Yeah.
That's my Disney princess voice.
Well, we have about 20 minutes left. Mm-hmm. Yes, 20 minutes left. So I want to go ahead and open up to audience questions now. If not, I've got more from the group, but also any audience questions?
Or I can dance while a bunch of you judge me because I'm an expert at that.
I'll tap.
Yeah. Oh, the question is, can I see that dance?
Oh, challenge thrown down. Yeah.
Oh God, what's your favorite cosplay that you've ever worn?
My mind immediately jumped to Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What was your favorite cosplay?
Okay, if I can do two, that's easier. So my favorite, I'll do my favorite competition piece and my favorite not competition
That's
piece.
so much easier.
My favorite competition piece has got to be Vivaldi. I mean, she walks into a room before I ever get there. She's this giant red ball gown with this huge heart-shaped whisk in the back, and I had to applique iridescent. What is it called? It's gone. Thin
organza.
Thank you. It is. I was like, starts with a vowel letter. Yeah,
It's the
iridescent
fabric that does the
organza.
hood,
I had to applique it. A machine stitch around each heart. I did 126 hearts onto velvet. Ooh. And you can't use Wonder Under or Heat and Bond on that because the velvet crushes.
You can only use
and
tears.
it looks. And so and it sparkles and it shines and I've got lace and I've got pleats and I've got it's everywhere, And I love wearing it. I love competing in it because she's the queen of hearts. I mean, come on, you can be the worst thing out there and people love you for it. And I love wearing her. my non-competition piece, my favorite non-competition piece has got to be Renge from Oron High School Cosplay. In her bright yellow cupcake dress.
Yes.
Because I was always that kid in high school that just kind of sat there and watched everybody, and then someone would flip a switch and mention something I loved, like she does with her Otome games, and I'm like, and away I go. And one of these days I'm going to figure out how to have portable motors that spin me up into the and I love doing her laugh, and I love being over the top, and I love making fun of the hosts running around in their blue jackets, and just she's the most freeing cosplay ever. Even though those costumes are very restrictive because they got the puff sleeves and then it's super tight, and they've got the weird little cupcake poof going, and it's this horrible yellow. Who did that? What animator made that decision? Because they're in the manga, you don't know what color they are. But yeah, cupcake yellow. And I look terrible in yellow, but I love wearing her so much because she's just so much fun to run around and play in, and she's decently comfortable other than the sleeves. So yeah, she's definitely my favorite non-competitive piece.
I think my favorite competitive piece is also my least favorite competitive piece. It's my Monster Hunter Kieran costume, because I learned a lot with that costume. It was all pleather. You know, I freehanded every single pattern for that. But then taking it to Holiday Matsuri to compete, TSA stole a bunch of our prop pieces. And so a lot of the hard work that we put into it, because we also handmade the makeup that we wore for those costumes.
Remind me to tell you my revenge TSA story.
Yes.
Did someone say spite?
Did somebody say revenge?
I didn't even do it on purpose, but it was amazing.
I'm so down. But yeah, TSA just stole a bunch of our stuff, and they broke the palette that I had handmade. We just finished it the week before. And it was, I still look at the pictures of that costume and I'm like, I'm still happy that I made that. I mean, I want to remake it eventually, but for what I did for that costume in that short amount of time, I'm very proud of it. And then just non-competition piece, I would say Wanda, because I do love me some Wanda Maximoff, and I just love her character so much. And so to be able to finally get into drag, because my mom's not very into that scene, and when she found out that I was going to cosplay Wanda, she was like, why? You're a man. Make a man version of it. I was like, well, here's the thing. No. I got lashes for this for a reason. So I didn't, rush shipping this just to, make a male version. I want to be Wanda. I don't want to be a male Wanda. I want to be her. She's this powerful female figure that I want to be. So I spent a lot of time working on the contouring with it, because the contour is very... it's different than a lot of more characters that I do, because that was the first female character I'd ever done. And so I sat there for a week or two just practicing the contour, where to put the shadows, where to seal, where to put concealer, just everything. And it was by far one of my favorite costumes that I've done. And it's pre-bought too. I love just the quality of the costume that I bought. I love it.
Awesome. Cool, that makes me happy. Sorry, I'm all listening, everyone hey. So we're my favorite competition piece is Butterfree. My shiny Butterfree.
It was so beautiful, but man, it was heartbreaking.
I loved it. So it was one of those dream costumes where I was like, I just want to do a gentleman musketeer style shiny pink Butterfree with rhinestones on it, and I accomplished all those things.
Oh, it was beautiful.
So I loved the hat. The hat was my favorite part. It had this giant butterfly wing on it, and I feel so fancy and dashing in it. So I love that. And it's probably the only costume, and I've been competing in master's class for a really long time. It's the only costume where I'm like, I like that. I would wear that again in front of humans. That I've competed in, because like I said, I have that thing where I'm like, that served its purpose, and now it's in a box. Runner-up Thief King Bakura. Runner-up. Because that was really fun, and that was also a dream costume. So, yeah, Butterfree for sure. And then non-competition piece. I forgot about it until I was listening to you guys, and it unlocked another memory. From long ago at Otakon Vegas. Right? I did Bolin from Legend of Korra.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And it was the best because I was just myself. And everyone's like, have you guys met that Bolin? They're just dropping puns left and right, and dancing and for people and whatever. And it was the best. Like, people were coming up to me and they're just like, "You're such a good balloon." I was like, "Catch me and Rin from Free Tomorrow and you'll see it's just me." But I do have to tell my favorite part about it is somebody had a red panda that was one of those round ones. And I got all of the people who were at the Avatar and Korra gathering, and I lined them up, and I zoomed back, and I had somebody record, and I took it, and I went, "Look, guys, I'm bowling," and I rolled it out. And like troopers, they all just like fell down. And so that one's my favorite.
That's hilarious. That's wonderful.
And then I took him apart to make him better when I got home and I never put him back together again.
Future goals.
Yeah.
I'm in tie with my competition pieces, but it's been recent stuff because I felt more like myself. Xehanort, obviously, because just...
Yes.
And then, surprisingly, Junko, or Beto Junko, as a lot of people know, because the confidence and the power behind cosplaying Junko Inoshima, it was the first time I had done makeup like crazy, and then I had long red nails, and like, it was that moment where people were like, "Who are you?" Because I didn't do makeup at the time really all that much, and then I was like, this one is the one I'm going to learn how to really do glam style makeup. And it also has the good memory of, it was in Sabacon where they had more judges and more diversity, and I had won a diversity award for doing a different style of a character. And I had other younger black cosplayers come up to me and go, "I never thought I could cosplay this character, and thank you so much because this is amazing, and I feel like I can actually cosplay from Danganronpa, and I can do this because this looks so good and you look so good." And I was like, okay. and it felt so good to be something. That's another one of those spite cosplays of, "Well, Junko is a supermodel and you're like plus size," and I'm like, "Watch me."
Yes.
And you're not.
That kind of attitude won't stop Junko.
And I was like, "Do you really think as Junko Inoshima I wouldn't do that?" And then putting on the TikToks of people seeing me, because I'm a timid person, so when I do TikToks of Junko, people are like, "Who is that person?" Because I'm just like laughing and like maniacal. Yeah. And then as for like non-competition piece, I really adore doing Bowser. Bowser is a comfort character for me, and I've gone to multiple different places with the most simplistic clothes on and the like horns, and I have a mohawk wig that's like red and green on the sides, where people are just like, "Are you Bowser?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're just like, "I didn't think I'd see a Bowser today." And I'm just like some guy, we went to a park, drove by, and was just like, "Are you Bowser?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah!" And he kept driving, and I was just like, "Come on!" Awesome. But Bowser's comfort to me, and he's one of those cosplays that I don't think I look good in male cosplays. And a fiery turtle, made me feel really confident in doing male cosplays. So he's very comforting for me, and he gave me a lot of confidence too, even though he's a giant turtle. Made me feel really good in doing male cosplays and making people laugh and like smile and stuff. So.
My favorite cosplays, I've got a comfort cosplay, but also I think I'm really hot as him. Break. Which I can't wait to cosplay again. We're gonna make it happen.
Are you doing it?
Zarxus Break from Pandora Hearts.
I haven't seen Pandora Hearts. That's how me and your sister bonded. Was Pandora Hearts.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. Because she told me, she's like, "Yeah, my sister does Brig," and I was like, I want to do that. Like,
yes. I love him so much. I have had 2 of his outfits. The other one I've taken apart to repattern and remake. I've done the white jacket. I've done the Pandora uniform. I just love walking around with that cane. I'm just like, yes.
The swagger stick.
The swagger stick, yes. And just, I feel powerful. I get flirted with in that, and I'm like, yes, thank you. I don't swing that way. Although, there's a funny story with that. So I was walking around his break. This is the first time I ever wore him. and my friend was Oz, and she is gay. But I'm not. But I'm walking around, and someone came up to her and was like, "Hey, is that break? Can I get their phone number?" And my friend, the Oz, goes, that's a girl. And she goes, "Well, still, can I get her phone number?" And Oz goes, "She don't swing that way, but I do." And I was like, "Ooh, smooth." I need to find that friend, talk to them again. Okay, but it's been ages since I've seen them. But since we're picking two, the other one that I just feel surprisingly powerful in, because like I cosplay a lot of dudes because I love it. It's fun, but a female character that like just makes me feel incredibly powerful is Aloy.
Yes.
I just
I put her on your award because
I was
picture
really
you.
appreciative of that. I saw
picture
that.
when I think I don't see the image from the game. I see you.
Oh, that makes me feel bubbly
Aloy's the
inside.
reason I get to go to cool national parks, so I'm a fan of that one.
Oh yes, yes. But yeah, she just makes me feel powerful and confident, and I don't know. I just love everything about that character. So can't wait for the next game. Yeah. We have time for one more question. If the audience doesn't have one, I have one. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, sweet. What is your dream cosplay?
Oh.
I'm actually working on it right now. I adore DC Comics. I grew up on DC, and Batman has just kind of meant a lot to me.
Batman.
Yeah, so Damian Wayne is like, he's kind of there, but Red Hood exists.
Yes.
So I'm currently working on an original design for Red Hood with a helmet pattern that I had found, which a friend of mine is currently 3D printing for me. They're so gracious and just doing me that favor to print the helmet. But I'm working on this like side design to kind of fit this helmet design. It's kind of like a Sentinel. It's more robotic. Ooh. And it might not be like a complicated character, but it's just a character that I like identify so much with that it is my dream cosplay. So that is who I want. That's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. Like, we have a photo shoot planned for it where it's going to be, we're going to do some urban exploring and kind of do like a stained glass theme with it to try to get the photos that I want in my head to come out and like be like an actual thing. So it's like this photo shoot that's going to come out in like November, December is going to be insane for it. But I'm very excited to actually do it.
I'm super excited to see it. Yeah. See, I keep saying those things sincerely, and then I'm like, oh no, it looks like I'm being like, No, I'm really psyched.
No, I'm
so psyched to see it. No, I love seeing people do their dream cosplays because it's a lot of times you feel like you'll never be able to get there when you start out, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is accomplishable.
This is my fourth time trying to do it. I've tried to make that helmet 3 other times.
Yeah.
And every time I get it done, I hate it, so I throw it away. Like, I've made it out of Pepakura, I've tried foam patterns, I've tried Pepakura again with foam, and that didn't work out either. Mm-hmm. So I gave up for a little bit, and I finally came to, I'm going to do this. My friend has a 3D printer. I found this pattern helmet design that I like, so what am I waiting for? There's no reason I should keep waiting.
Good. I'm
so we're going.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
I'm so excited.
I'm psyched. I am also chattering. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to see that. My wife is super into DC. So let's see, dream costumes. I have 2 that come to mind. One's been a dream for a really long time, and one is a very recent dream, which I found happens. Like, I'm in that weird spot where I'm like, I accidentally did some of mine already. And so Butterfree was one. Like, Butterfree was one of my dream cosplays, and Thief King Bakura was my other dream cosplay that had been there for a really long time. And then the last one is from the Tsubasa art book, Clow Reed's cloak with all the coins on it. And I tried to make it once. And every time I've started, I've been really ambitious about it because I want to make those coins.
Oh, yes.
But I want to make them in a way that they look really cool, but they're not as heavy as coins. And so I start with the coins always, because that makes sense. There's nothing else to the costume, right?
Oh, no.
Coins. So that one someday, not sure when, lots of fabric. But then the one that I'm currently obsessed with is niche. It is from a a Chinese donghua called Thousand Autumns. And I really want to do Yan Wuxi, who is the bad guy main character. But he's just got all of this beautiful like embroidery and draping on this cloak. And I actually remember zooming in and being like, because that's actually what I originally signed up for the contest in. And then I remember zooming in on the gold and being like, don't be embroidered. But yep, you're embroidery. Okay, nope, not happening. Not if I'm going to do this the way I want to do it. And
Can I do something else instead? Sure.
I was just like, hey, I was a little ambitious. And she let me switch, and then I was like, hey, I was a little ambitious. I was like, hey, I was a little assuming I could human.
Your health is more important than a cosplay contest.
100%.
But no, like, I'm really excited. So half the reason I get excited for costumes is the construction, but the other half is the performance. And so the reason I'm excited for Yan Wuxi, and I'm telling everybody, this is the first time I'm revealing this to anyone. No one steal my idea, except you can, because that's how cosplay works. I'm sharing ideas. So crash course in cultivation, like stories, xianxia stories. They use, like cool arrays and stuff to like cast spells, and I was going to use flow toys, so like a sun wheel or like those really, I can't remember what they're called, but the things that look, that you're at a rave and you're like, wee. I was going to use those to do some of these cool cultivation things, but then also the costume is like crazy, and so I wanted to do those things for Banzai. It didn't happen. I'm going to try for ALA. We'll see.
Do it.
It's in 3 months. We're going to try. Do it. But yeah, so those are my two dreams. One very old, one very new. How you do?
My dream cosplay, I did my first dream cosplay, which was Vivaldi, but it took me a really long time to do it and to get to the point where I felt I was capable of doing it. My next one is kind of near and dear. It's it's Sarah from Star Ocean.
Hey.
And I love her because she's this sweet little thing who she wears glasses that look just like mine. Perfect. It's perfect. She's got she's just this cute little sweet thing, but she has these gorgeous embroidered bits and pieces, and there's just lots of little details to it. And then she has these lovely, amazing wings. Mm-hmm. And I've always been stymied on wings, and I've made a couple pair, and they've been like, I like them. They're passable. They're wearable, but they're not what I want to be at a level of. So I'm still working with those sorts of things so that I can create these wings that will expand and flow and not look like they're, on a buzzer beat. Because that just kind of takes the magic out of it for me. So I'm working on developing my skills in some electronics and things like that, because I really want to learn how to do that, to do what I feel is justice to this cute little character that isn't even a main character, but she's just so lovely and sweet, and she has my name. So that she, she's kind of a goal that I'm working to get myself to. So she's my dream cosplay now.
I have a quick top three. Number one is Shantae, half genie hero. And it's not even complicated per se, but it is a body confidence thing because she is a genie and her stomach is out. So it's me getting myself to a point that I feel comfortable being plus size to just be out there, or build it in a way that I'm more comfortable with, because I also want to learn how to belly dance for it. And couple goal cosplay is I want to do Senna and Lucian from League of Legends, where my husband does Lucian and I do Senna. And it's more complicated because of the gun, because Senna has a cannon. So I'd have to build a giant cannon, and I want it to light up, and I want to put mist around me because she's made from shadow and all this stuff. And so it's like, that's a performance goal kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then a craftsmanship goal is I want to do the waltz from Final Fantasy IX. I believe it's the second one that has the wings and the ball gown. Is that 3? Okay, yes, 3. I want to do the waltz because ever since I was little and saw that costume, I was like, it's like an evil Vivi, but prettier. And I cosplayed Vivi already, who was a dream cosplay. And I'm like, now I just have to do the grown-up version. And so I want to put that together and get the tethered wings and all that to look really, really good. So that's a craftsman thing, because I too want to learn how to make the wings so they look more, natural and cool about it. So yeah.
If you need a thresh when you guys do Senna and Lucian, I'm free.
Give me your thresh.
I love Thresh. He's so fun.
What about you?
So I had one that was attached to a dream photo shoot, actually. And Silverfire Studios here in the audience, who helped make that happen. I love Shadow of the Colossus. Probably heard me on the podcast talk about it before. I'm obsessed with it. It's why I became a game developer. I got to do a shoot with the horse. And it was magical and everything I wanted it to be. And the images will come out. They will come out soon. I keep talking about them because I'm obsessed, but like that, I still like, whenever I'm like feeling down, I'll pull up those photos and I'll just look through them to like just give me that serotonin burst. So thank you, Silverfire. I love you.
He broke the cosplay.
I did. I broke the cosplay. I ripped my pants getting on the horse. Because I gained a little weight and was like, well, all right. Well, they're not going to let me ride the horse anyways. And I get there and she's like, you get to ride the horse. And I'm like, yes, it'll be worth it. And there's video you can hear my pants rip. Oh.
What point was it butt to horse saddle?
Oh, so luckily, my seams on my pants are French seamed, so it just ripped the first seam.
Oh, good.
So it didn't rip all the way through, thank goodness. But I definitely was like, well.
And there was no saddle.
Yeah, there was no saddle. It was
Really realistic part of it.
bareback horse. It was so magical. I'm just like, okay. But my next one is eventually, someday, down the line, I want to make the Various suit.
Yes.
Specifically Metroid Prime, I think the third one with the PED suit, and I want to be like partially corrupted. It's ambitious. But one day it's going to be amazing.
That's why it's a dream.
Yes. My sister... I have a dream. My sister Rexy Rue Cosplay is going to be Zero Suit Samus for it. We want to like trade places on stage kind of thing, and she'll be also halfway corrupted as Zero Suit. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, so excitement. So we are at the end of our time. So before we wrap up, I would like each of you to say your name again and where people can find you on social media, so that way anyone listening to the podcast can come and find you guys. So we'll start right here with Midnight.
Midnight Persona, you can pretty much find me on any piece of social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Ko-fi, like anywhere, just Midnight Persona.
I'm Miss Elena Cosplay. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll warn you, I talk about cosplay and books because I am a librarian. One day I will cosplay as Evie the librarian for the Mummy movies.
Yes.
Because I am a librarian. But so you'll hear about books and you will hear about cosplay. So you have to put up with, if you don't want to hear about books, skip those. You're welcome to.
I'm Winter Fox, so you guys can find me on any social media with the handle Winter Fox, but the E is a 3. And you can find my cosplay makeup site at foxbeauty.store, and that's Fox with 2 X's.
I am Turtle Bunnies, and you can find me in your thoughts and in the ether, where I am like Brigadoon, and I only come around for cons.
Nice reference.
Right? I was like, someone please get this. But no, really, I did kind of fall off of social media because of the fibro diagnosis, but being at Banzai has really made me want to come back. So Turtle Bunnies on Instagram, turtle_bunnies, because someone out there is a thief on Twitter. And on Facebook, but I'm never on that one. So those two. Feel free to look me up. Everything's 2 years old, but hopefully new stuff. Or, just chant my name 3 times and go to sleep.
Beetlejuice.
I forgot, we also have a discount code on the Fox Beauty store. If you use code Stitch and Seam, all lowercase, all one word, you guys get 10% off your total purchase of anything you buy.
Nice.
Yes. So take advantage of that. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, audience. Yay!
So, as we're coming back from that one, I was there. I was not part of the panel, but I was there. I was helping record and get everything set up. I was just falling asleep in the back. The entire time. I was so
Poor sleepy
tired.
David. It was the day after Masquerade, and You had been working so hard.
I had been, and it was so great. It was so great to like spend so much time with all the people, and then like even then when like everyone was kind of like a little bit lower, there were still so many people like at this panel that was part of the cosplay competition that won something that they're like, yes,
cool.
Go support my people, and I want to continue to learn and do better.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, yeah, David, you were definitely tired because, like, afterwards was the prop panel, and Sadie goes, "Where'd David go?" And I was like, "I think he's going to go sleep."
Aww. So,
okay.
Speaking of exciting, fun, and sometimes scary convention experiences, do we have any horror stories for this week?
Yes, I have a very short one from William Priest Cosplay in our Discord.
Oh, hey.
Hi, William Priest.
I am not sure how much this fits into the Nightmare department, but not really sure where else I could post this. Had catastrophic failure on both my printers about 2 weeks ago, which ground my current Mandalorian project to a screeching halt.
No.
I've had to go through and rebuild the entire hot end assembly, so I went ahead and did a few upgrades as well. Finally back up and running last night with some test pieces. Armor starts running again today.
Yay!
Sweet.
I mean, that's a horror story for sure. Like when you're
Definitely.
trying to build things and get stuff done and your equipment malfunctions. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's like harder, better, faster, stronger because of it.
Right.
Yeah. If you guys at home would like to share some of your stories, there are so many ways you can do that. First is our email, which is cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or
you can fill out the Google form at cosplaystitchandseam.com, or
go to the Facebook page, and while you're on the Facebook page, send us your message there and join our fantastic Work in Progress Wednesdays group. And we have such a fantastic community that wants to see you build up your skills and get better all the time. And also join our Discord if you're feeling it, or one or the other. Doesn't have to be all of the above. All of the above is great, but whatever suits your fancy. While you're on the internet, leave us a review. That helps the algorithm gods shine light upon our podcast. And of course, we have our Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. And those amazing people we need to thank for helping make the show so great is Livy, Yggdrasil, Dr. Steggy, James Donaldson, Cynics, at Queer Eye Sci-Fi, Howcause, Hot Riku, Renamira, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, Sudi, Stacy Pitch, Jock H, and
Silver
Deeds.
Thank you guys so much. Could not do the show without your support, helping us keep the lights on. Just lots of awesome people out there. Thank you. As always, if you guys want to check out foxbeautycosmetics.com, that's with 2 X's in Fox, you can use the promo code Stitch and Seam to get 10% off your purchase. Big shout out thank you to Macy Roberts for the use of her music as our theme song, and David Jeffress, of course, for his amazing editing. How are those podcasts going, David?
They're going so great. If you've been enjoying some of the D&D content that I have been putting Pannon and Mercedes through on our Cosplay Chronicles, I do have a D&D podcast called Dungeons and Chill. If you enjoy comic books and want kind of more of an in-depth conversation about what comics are trying to tell us, I have Comic Trades Monthly. And if you enjoy audio dramas about zombies and the end of the world and trying to survive, and sometimes a little bit sad, you can go and listen to The Last Voice, which season 1 is done, so you can binge it all.
Heck yeah. That is so amazing, David. I think, let's see, anything. Oh, speaking of round tables, did you know which one of King Arthur's knights actually built the round table?
I think I have an idea.
It was Circumference.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a math joke.
Why did I not know that?
Oh, bye guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.